That's good. Next one we're going to talk about is quite specific. So there are in the Security Directive 02, there is a requirement that organizations conduct a cybersecurity architecture design review once every 2 years. So a lot of people call these CADRs. You all may have also heard the term VADR, Validated Architecture Design Review. That's what TSA initially called them, and then they renamed it to CADR. So you see kind of both terms used. And so it's all kind of part of that, those requirements to kind of self-assess or use a third party to help you with your assessments. So this case study is for a global industrial gases company. So this is a company that manufactures hydrogen and provides that to a variety of industrial clients, but primarily to refineries. They also operate hundreds of miles of hydrogen pipeline, both in North America and in Europe. And like the previous case study, this is a client that we had done a lot of work with over the years. We helped them initially stand up their OT cybersecurity program almost 15 years ago. Support them with cybersecurity risk assessments, both cyber HAZOP and PHA studies for typically on their greenfield facilities, as well as cyber bowtie studies as part of brownfield risk assessments. We've helped them develop a number of governance documents, including a supplier requirement specification. We've even helped them with things like penetration testing. But in this case, they came to us and they are complying with the TSA directives and asked us to help conduct a CADR assessment for them. I mentioned this is just pulling out from that 2021-02. That requirement says a CADR must be conducted every 2 years. Basically, what a CADR is, and this is in the words of TSA, the objectives are to analyze the systems based on standards, guidelines, best practices, ensure effective defense and depth strategies, and provide findings and practical mitigations to enhance cybersecurity. 3 main components: evaluation of the architecture, analysis of network traffic, and system log review and analysis. So when they used to call this a validated architecture design review, actually, I really liked that term because what they're pointing out is that this is not a tabletop exercise or not a gap assessment where it's questionnaire based. This is actually collecting data from the running systems and analyzing that to validate the design and the architecture. An important distinction, because a lot of companies do conduct a variety of different types of maturity assessments or gap assessments. That's not what this is. This is a validated. It usually involves going to the site. It doesn't have to, but it definitely involves having actual data from the site or from typical sites. So in a pipeline, you're not going to go to every single terminal and station on the pipeline, but you're going to gather data, representative data from a variety of different field sites, as well as from the primary control center, if there's a backup or disaster recovery control center, and so on. So this is basically what we did for them. So the driver, of course, was the TSA pipeline security directives, and just generally wanting to improve their business continuity and resiliency. The methodology, the approach is really shown in the diagram there. The idea is, as I said, very evidence-based. So actual data from things like Windows system information from servers and workstations, Windows event logs and other log files, packet captures, asset inventory spreadsheets or exports from asset inventory tools, drawings, typically Visio or drawings like of the actual network architecture, and then configuration files from switches, routers, firewalls. All of that data, and it is sample data, but it is actual data, needs to be analyzed. And I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've yet to find a single tool that can do that kind of analysis and correlation and provide fully meaningful results. There's a variety of tools that do a lot of really good things, but yet to find a single tool that can completely automate that. Plus, there's the whole, very important to have that human element to actually look over that data and make sure that the findings are valid and that there are not false alerts or Yeah, if you use some tools, you even hallucinate if you're familiar with using AI tools. So you want to make sure that you need a human or humans to look this over. And so we have a toolkit, which is a variety of different tools that we use to do this analysis and correlation. We also partner with a company called Insane Cyber, and they were very helpful on this project as well. Just to give you an idea of some of the output. So some of this example output from a CADR is you want a validated architecture diagram. So taking those the diagrams and actually validating that they are correct. Other things are implementation vulnerabilities. So to distinguish between, people talk about vulnerabilities, they often think about software vulnerabilities, things that have a CVE. Those are important to discover and be aware of those software vulnerabilities in the products that you're using. But oftentimes it's more implementation vulnerabilities where, for example, improper network segmentation, improper configuration of, particularly in the network equipment, misconfigurations, information about products that are end of life. Certainly those that have known software vulnerabilities or firmware vulnerabilities is also something that needs to be pointed out. It is in this process. Data flow violations. Where is data? What are the expected data flows and what is actually occurring? So what are the permitted data flows and then what is actually occurring? And other things, weak access controls. There's many findings that come out of a study like this that gives you some examples. So end of the day, though, the deliverables are reports, of course, prioritize recommendations to mitigate and or improve security, and then an executive report out. So benefits to the company, of course, are things like improved regulatory compliance, of course, meeting the requirement, but also much more improved visibility into their systems, improvements to operational resilience, and an overall strengthened security posture.